Hello, good day everyone. My name is Nolena Aisha binti Rusli. My meter number is 270557. Okay, now I will present about Indonesian batik as an intangible heritage. Now I will explain about the history of batik. Batik is a term that has its origin in Indonesia. It may have been derived from a word called batik that translates into a dotted piece of cloth. Batik is commonly used to describe a fabric dyeing process that utilizes a special resist method. In this technique, selected closed areas are covered with a dye-proof substance as it helps prevent absorption of colors. The Java region in Indonesia is particularly known for its creative use of the batik technique by skilled artists. Next, the world and batik. Batik, which is a blend of ritual and traditional art, contains noble cultural value, also didn't escape the impact. Along with the dynamite of people's lifestyle, which triggered the shifting of trend, batik patterns also evolved. 10 centuries have passed since its discovery in Indonesian archipelago, batik experiencing meaning alteration due to the influence of foreign culture, so that the pattern also adjusts and keep up to the significance. A tradition of making batik is found in various countries, including Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nigeria. The batik of Indonesia, however, is the best known. Indonesian batik made in the island of Java has a long history of acculturation with diverse pattern influenced by a variety of cultures and is the most developed in terms of pattern, technique, and the quality of workmanship. In October 2009, UNESCO designed Indonesian batik as a masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Next is the method of making batik. The process is traditionally performed on cotton and silk using a resist technique. This includes covering areas of cloth with a dye-resistant substance in order to prevent the color absorption. Those areas not covered are able to absorb deep hues. Thus, the fabric is both durable and fade-resistant. Other batik methods also exist, such as the splash method, the screen printing process, and the hand painting methods. Okay, now I will explain about the tools that have been used in batik. The first one is canting. Canting is a beautiful Javanese tool for applying wax to fabric when making batik. They have a long handle and a copper or brass pot that hold out molten wax. Canting can be tricky to use at first. Second is chop. Artistic artifact or batik tumble is proud to present the chop. Batik artists use handmade copper tools to seal hot wax pattern on fabric. They are handmade of copper foil, carefully cut, shaping, and dispersing into beautiful shapes and patterns. Javanese batik artists use them to immerse them in hot wax, shake off excess, and then seal the wax close. Next is batik pen. Batik pen melts candles, crayon, batik wax, and paraffin to form a control thin or thin line. When the tool is placing at an angle, there are no drops of melted wax. It heats up quickly and maintains an even more melting temperature. Next is wooden printing block. Various craftsmen handcraft their stick block range from 4 inches to 5 or 6 inches in size. On the back of each block, there's a wooden handle to hold the craftsman in place. The prints also have 2 until 3 holes for air circulation. Before using them, the blocks are kept in oil for 10 until 15 days to protect them from wood chips. The batik blocks melted on a wax oven printing and the block immersed in a wax. Fifth is brush. Most batikers are unable to get a tan, and if they can, they prefer to brush their wax completely. Properly cut and sized brushes will give them a very satisfying result. Of course, the minute line that could do with tanning cannot be achieved with a brush, but a practical line can make as narrow as 16 inches. Lastly is dye tubs. An excellent craft to use for a dye buff is one of the chief for successful dyeing. If one is available, the best thing to use is seamless copper tube. However, this pot is not accessible to every people and can do a satisfying job in a good zinc or enamel pan. Okay, this is an example of batik design. The first one is kawung. Kawung is another very old design consisting on intersecting circle known in Java since at least the 13th century. This design has appeared carved into a wall of many temples throughout Java, such as Prambanan near Yogyakarta and Kendiri in East Island. Second is chaplok. Chaplok is a general name for a whole series geometric design based on squares, rhombs, circles, stars, and others. Although fundamentally geometric, chaplok can also represent abstraction and stylization of flowers, bud, seeds, and even animals. Variation in color intensity can create illusion of depth, and the overall effect is not unlike the medallion pattern seen on the Turkish tribal rugs. And the last one is parang. Parang was one used in exclusively by the royal courts of Central Java. It has several suggested meanings such as rugged rock, knife pattern, or broken blade. The parang design consists of slanting row of thick knife-like segment running in parallel diagonal bands. Parang usually alternated with narrow band in a darker contrasting color. Okay, next is domain of intangible heritage. The first one is traditional craftsmanship. Second is oral tradition and expression. Third is social practices. And the last one is ritual and festive event. Why batik is in this domain? This is because the craft of batik is intertwined with the cultural identity of the Indonesian people, and through the symbol meanings of its color and design, it expresses their creativity and spirituality. This is because clothes with everyday design are worn regularly in business and academic settings, while special varieties are incorporated into celebration of marriage and pregnancy and into puppet theatre and other art forms. The garments even played the central role in certain rituals such as the ceremonial casting of royal batik into a volcano. Batik is dyed by proud craftspeople who draw a design on fabric using dots and lines of hot wax which resist vegetable and other dyes and therefore allow the artisan to color selectively by soaking the cloth in one color, removing the wax with boiling water and repeating if multiple colors are desired. Batik, which is increasingly popular with society, is now starting to be used for fashion products such as bag, accessory, and not limited to clothes only. The evolution of classic batik into coastal batik is the initial stage of degradation of the meaning of batik, which was initially not recognized and experienced rejection in society. Over time, the community finally accepted and tolerated these changes. Currently, batik products that are irrelevant both in terms of product types and motifs to the initial concept of original batik, which is to convey novel message, philosophies, and symbols in social life, are everywhere to find. Time change. Some cultures and traditions passed down from generation to generation are starting to become extinct, but Indonesian batik continues to adapt to the times until now it is faced with the second stage pre-evolution phase, namely batik pop culture. The term batik pop culture is suitable to describe the evolutionary stage of batik which become meaninglessly but adapt to pop culture, a culture that relives on the egotism of the people for a moment and will never become timeless like the classic batik motif. Observation on contemporary batik products that are currently in high demand in the market, leading into conclusion that to be described as batik pop culture, the visualization or motif must have been correlation to the trend. Okay, last but not least is safeguarding for the intangible. For intangible to be kept alive, it must remain relevant to a culture and be regularly practiced and learned within communities and between generations. Communities and groups who practice this tradition and custom everywhere in the world have their own system for transmitting their knowledge and skills, usually depend on word of mouth rather than written text. Safeguarding activities must therefore always involve the community, groups, and where appropriate individuals that bear such heritage. So, in my opinion, safeguarding for batik is to practice and transmission of batik. Knowledge related to batik is also shared and transmitted into craftspeople communities. What's more, batik clothes production organization plays an essential role in the transmission of batik technique through creating job opportunity, establishing selling system, and so on. Apart from that, this organization also hold mutual aiding activity which builds strong relationship among craftspeople and support daily life of craftspeople financially. So, it can be concluded that 3 points are necessarily for the transmission of batik culture, building a knowledge-sharing environment, making batik practice an occupation, and also offering value beyond financial benefit. So, that's all from me. Thank you.